Welcome back to Crave. Today we are excited to have Davide Fiore, an award-winning Italian video editor and director, join us. Known for his powerful storytelling that impact community and inspire lives. He recently received honor for his work on the documentary A Little Fellow, the Legacy of A.P. Giannini. Davide, welcome to Crave.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, I just say Davide, welcome to Crave. You got in.
Oh my God.
Prima cosa, congratulations on your recent awards, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just go into it. Could you share your experience working on Demolition and what this honor mean to you, Davide?
Well, Demolition came from after a long period of documentaries, so it was a
Right.
new narrative project, and I was glad that the director Megan, which I worked a lot with on other projects, decided to brought me in, and so it was important to win this award because it was another narrative project after so many documentaries, and so yeah,
Right.
to show that I can do narrative, I still can do narrative.
I know you tell the story. You know, like you're a director, you're an editor, you do like so many things, and the Italian community, especially, we are so grateful to have somebody so talented like you.
Oh, thank you,
Now
thank
we
you.
go. Then later we go into the big one, right?
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you also, what is your process like when you start in a new project, and how do you maintain a balance between creative vision and client expectations?
So it's the communication, and it's important to know what is the audience.
Right.
So what the client or the director wants, but also what is the audience? What is the language that we speak with the audience, and what they reach out, what they can reach out. So most likely nowadays we have so many different communications, and so we go through so many media like podcasts, cinema, or we have to be ready for people to see our footage, our movies through cell phones, and so it really depends on what is the client vision and where it's gonna be release your product. First of all, second of all is really understanding the message. The everything about the editing is about the message. So
Right.
it's all about that, and how can we deliver the message for an audience that has a span attention that is really small, and how do we do it properly and efficiently.
Right. You are the best person to ask about editing. Editing is known as invisible art, right?
Yes.
How do you create emotional impact while staying true to the story?
Oh, that's a great tough question. So what I like about editing is that the less you see the editing, the better is the editor to me. So if you see the editing, if you feel that there were a direction, there were two cameras, you feel that there's some sort of trick, your eye disconnect, your brain disconnect, that's a bad editing to me. So the moment you forget you're watching a movie, you're watching a video on YouTube, whatever, the moment you forget that, that's a great editing. It's all about guts, to be fair. Besides the technical aspects of editing, it's really about it's about guts and what you feel is good. Is there enough? Is people understanding? Because we are, as editors, we are people as well. We have our opinion, we have our bias, and we have our background. So everything can help, but also can become an obstacle to your editing. So you need to do your job and then step back share your job with someone else on the
Nice.
opposite spectrum, someone that doesn't know anything, or someone that doesn't know the project, doesn't know what you're doing, doesn't know nothing, because then you understand what it really works and what doesn't work. Showing Most of the time we show things to other editors, they're fine, but their perspective is always with bias. It's another editor, so he knows that your process is hard, but you need to show. I can tell. Most of the time is my wife, one of the person that I share most of my cuts, and or when I was younger was my mom. Not because they are the closest people around me, but because they are actually the most distant people in my world. So they don't know, they are audience. They are what most of the time is my audience. And so if they see something or they tell something that is off, I know that I'm making mistakes. Most of the time they don't know what they are saying because they have a feeling. They don't know what is the mistake. It's your job to understand what is the mistake.
I mean, I'm just
Oh,
so excited to see this upcoming movie that you directed and you produced, A Little Fellow. Um, what are the main themes of the movie and why are they important today?
and by the way, David is bilingual,
Yeah,
Italian and English,
yeah. I actually know German too,
a
but
German
I'm
too.
not. I'm not gonna prove that. Uh,
No, we believe you. We
Exactly.
believe you.
Yeah.
so the main theme in A Little Fellow is help each other, is help minorities, not in the vision that we have today, but in the vision that they had back then, where any minority is important, and we need to help each other, and really the democracy in banking, that is the main theme, not only of the movie, but the life theme of A.P. Giannini. So, yeah, so the democracy in banking is something that really shocked me from the beginning. The fact that in a period, in a moment in history where women didn't have rights to vote, he promoted and he created the first women department in his own bank, not only for women to have their own account, but run by
Right.
women. So that was very important. And think about 1920s, where really there was the suffragette movement, and still it was ahead of his time. So if I'm thinking of him back then, and he wanted everybody to have access to the banking services. So he printed all his brochures in every language, in Hebrew, in Polish, in Russian, in Spanish, in Italian. It was, if people don't understand the banking system, they cannot have access to it. They cannot use it. So that to me was very important because this story is very contemporary. We are dealing right now with so many minorities that don't have access to many other things. Back then was the banking, and as the banking as we think today. So that to me was the striking history. Besides the fact that he was an Italian American citizen, and he had to face racism for that, and
Right.
we have to think about in a moment where Italians were not considered, as we say in the movie, quite white. So now it's cool to be Italian.
Interesting.
Back then, they were hang to the trees, for any reason, and most of them they were manufactured. They were not,
Right.
you know. Uh,
He made a big impact, Davide, right, on Italian immigrant.
yeah,
Um, And I learned also that the bank was called Bank of Italy and then turned
Yeah.
out to be Bank of America.
Yes.
Um,
So he built the Bank of Italy in. So the whole point is that he wasn't a banker. He didn't come from a bank family or a banking family. He came from a vegetable producer family, kind of family, and he founded the bank in a saloon because
Wow.
he had a seat on one bank at some point in his life, but this bank didn't want to deal with immigrants, didn't want to deal with the, you know,
Middle class too?
middle class. They wanted
Hmm.
to deal just with wealthy people.
Right.
So that was the point. So the fisherman, the farmer,
Mm,
didn't have access to banking.
right.
So it was like, no, this has to change. I need all the people at the fisherman pier, or the fisherman in general, or farmers to have access to banking system. So he opened in a saloon, his Bank of Italy, and he had the people, every people in his mind all the time. So his point was the little fellow, the person with small needs that need the day-to-day money to get going. So that was always his goal, and he kept it till he died. Basically, he was always for the little fellow, always for these people that, to be fair, it's what I would be. It would be me back then. It would be my family. It would be my wife's family. I know a lot of my friends would be in that situation if it wasn't for
Right.
him.
Yeah.
Right? It was that kind of people. These kind of people didn't have access to banking back then. So
Right.
yeah, Bank of Italy. Then when he decided to go bigger, because he wanted to expand and he wanted a bank. Because don't forget that he brought the branch banking in the United States. United States didn't have branch banking until him, and it was considered actually anti-American. He had to fight that. So when he wanted to expand to all U.S., he needed a name that was more, they could fit better his idea, and so that's why Bank of America in 1929, 1930, roughly. He merged with a bank that was called Bank of America of Los Angeles, and he decided to switch his name from Bank
Switch
of
it.
Italy to Bank of America. Yeah.
Ma poi sei bravissimo. How amazing you really you were able to bring this amazing story to life. It's like it's not easy to find a perfect story. And I also, what was the most surprising thing you learned about Giannini during your research for the film, Davide?
Well, to be fair, his story was the surprise to me. It was really, I was surprised that a story, when I read the first book about him, I was surprised by his story arc. Really, the story arc of his life looks like a Hollywood script. I was like astonished by the fact that there were no movies about him. So that was the thing. I was like, this story is there. Nobody made a movie about him. To be fair, Frank Capra tried to make a movie about him. He didn't succeed back then, but he made a movie that show, in a way, A.P. Giannini. And the movie, I think we know it very well, is It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, It's a Beautiful Life. No, It's a
Beautiful
Wonderful
life.
Life. It's a Wonderful
Wonderful
Life.
life.
Frank Capra.
Oh yeah, yes,
La
yes,
vita è
yes.
meravigliosa.
La meravigliosa.
La
sì.
vita è
La
meravigliosa. It's
vita
a Wonderful Life
meravigliosa.
from Frank Capra. The protagonist of the movie is based on A.P. Giannini. And on one of his episodes where he calmed down people, there was a panic because one of his branch was closed and people thought they were failing, and so he drove up to that branch with his own money to give money back to the people and say, no, no, you're safe, your money are safe, don't worry. And that is portrayed in It's a Wonderful Life. It's one of the... That was surprising to me. The whole story was surprising to me.
How did you find this story? Not a lot of people talking about, and I can't wait to see the movie. By the way,
And you're gonna come to the screening.
yes,
So I landed in San Francisco in 2017, and I was, I had a visa to stay in the States, but I was waiting for the work permit. And it takes up to 3 months, and I was visiting the city. I'm a curious person. I'm a person that keep walking and walking and looking around. I'm observing all the time. One of my hobby is to sit on the street and observing people, observing the world around me. That's how I was down where the Transamerica Pyramid is, and then down there I saw a plaque that says, "This is the original Bank of Italy, founded by A.P. Giannini," and it was like, "Oh, this guy sounds Italian," and so I start the research, and the place is still there. The original Bank of Italy is still there. It's now a menswear shop, but it's still there. You can see the safe down there, and it's literally in front of the Transamerica building. That Transamerica was one of his institutions. So even that pyramid is a landmark that tells the story of A.P. Giannini.
Okay, you are directing a documentary of A.P. Giannini, founder of Bank of America. What inspired you tell this story, and what do you hope audience will take away from this amazing, veramente amazing story you were able to bring to life?
I hope really the same message that I got from his lifetime. That is a message of hope, a message of nothing is lost, even in the darkest time. And probably we are not living the darkest time, but we are very close to. And nothing is lost. There's always some sort of hope, and it's not gonna coming from what you expect. It's gonna coming from the less expected person and the less expected situation. So don't close the doors to anybody in some sense. I think that the message that I want is a message of hope and unity. And, you have to work hard, but I like the fact that he was open to any ideas. He was open to, he helped Walt Disney when nobody knew, animations wasn't a thing, right? So nobody founded Disney, and he helped Disney. But before him, he helped another entrepreneur that he was, we're talking about at the beginning of the cinema. There was this entrepreneur that needed money for chairs for his theater. And Giannini went down and was like, why do you need these chairs? And he showed him one of the first movie theater and the fact that he needed chairs. And he was like, yeah, you need chairs, but how do you produce what you're showing, what you're screening? And he was like, well, we need money there as well, but we cannot ask anybody. And he was like, well, I can help you with my bank. This guy was Charlie Chaplin, and he wanted the money for the kid.
Beautiful.
And so
You just nailed it. Okay, this is like going always. This is going better and better and better, actually.
and it's like, and
It's crazy, right?
and he helped him making the kid, and nobody believed in the movie industry back then. And then suddenly,
Right.
everybody like Warner, Universal, they all came up thanks to Giannini, because Giannini was the only bank, the Bank of Italy, that in LA, in Los Angeles, arrived before the City Hall was built. And we have a picture of that that is like insane to see the Bank of Italy before the City Hall. Anyway, when the Bank of Italy arrived, they opened the movie department in the bank because they believed in the movie industry. And at the head of the movie department, Giannini, that was a person of meritocracy, put Cecil B. DeMille, the director and producer of the Ten Commandments, of the beginning of the movie industry, and so he gave hope. Even when people didn't see something, he gave hope. Till the end of his days, really, he was in the Bay Area. In the Bay Area, we are talking about months before he died. One of the last loan that he gave, it was two young entrepreneurs that were working on a calculator. I don't know if you heard about Ewell Packard. Ewell and Packard, HP. So they were looking for money for a calculator that then later, almost 20 years after, became a computer. So
Davide, you are the inspiring the new generation. You give hope to people, and you connect with my next question, which is, what advice will you give to, you know, inspiring like filmmaker, right, and editors who wants to make their mark in the industry? So, what advice will you give to aspiring? Can you even?
yeah,
I'm watching you. I want to say in Italian now. So,
say
filmmaker
that
and
you want.
editors who wants to make their mark in the industry.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just start and just start. Do it whatever you're doing. I started doing pranks at school. I was filming pranks at school in my high school, and we're talking about 20 years ago. I don't want to say my age. But literally, I was filming before YouTube or Facebook were born. I was filming at school with two cameras, and then I was editing and I was directing my fellow students, my roommate, my classmates, to do things while I was filming. That's where I started. My family is not from the movie industry, is not from the entertainment. I made my way into it. So my advice is, whatever is your idea, just start. In any business, we luckily we live in a period where we have access to a lot of technology. So yeah, just start and
Yeah.
learn.
And Davide, where are people? I know you are going to have a premiere soon, but where people can see in the future a Little Fellow movie?
Most likely a streamer. We are still
Okay.
working on that because we are starting. The premiere is gonna be in December 20th in Rome,
Okay.
and after that we will know better where.
Perfect.
But we know most likely some streamer. We don't know yet. We have
And you need
movies.
to come back. We have so many,
Yeah,
like
when
honestly, the
is when
timing.
is
We have
out?
so, and we have so many more questions. We can stay here to talk to you,
Oh, I know.
honestly, to you forever. I have so many more questions, but I have to ask you the last question because the
Yes.
timing. So here at Crave, we love talking about passion. Beside editing and filming, what's another passion of yours?
Electronic music. I'm a very. I played to a party last Saturday. I still like
Wow.
DJing a lot. It's my go-to place. I started when I was 13, doing party for my friends, and it was like I was literally 13 when I started. And last Saturday I was in a party in Hermosa Beach, in a backyard in Hermosa Beach, and I still get some gigs as a DJ.
Yeah.
It's tougher now because it's a new state, a new country, and the music is slightly different. But I keep doing that. Electronic music is still my thing.
Love
Yeah.
it. We might need you.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
might we might hire you. for something,
If you need
right?
What other
particles,
artists would you work with that's amazing
I
though.
know.
Do you
I
have
know.
an artist that you would want to work with in that
um,
way?
as directors, as
I mean, either or, as a director or as a artist, as a music artist.
As a music artist, I don't know because I was lucky enough in my life, in my career, to work with my um, um, I was fan of some rappers or singers, and I was lucky enough to direct their own music videos or to fly with them in tour, and that was like the top of my career as a music artist, going in tour, you know, in the United States or in Australia or in Korea with the band that I loved. So musically, I don't know if I have someone in mind. I realize that as a director or as an editor, I would love to work with people like Tarantino, for
Yeah.
example, or you know,
Uh-huh.
some I don't know. I don't know. You know that they say never meet your
Idols.
idols. So, and I had that experience a couple of times. It went well, but I don't want to ruin that record. So I don't want to work with someone. And to be fair, we are working in a. I'm working nowadays. I can work with people like that. They can happen, and sometimes most of the idols that we have are much easier than we expect.
Yes.
Are much more, you know. I worked on a movie Unzipped, and Lucy Liu, the actress from Kill Bill, and she was executive producer on the movie I worked, I edited, and when we were at the premiere, she was super nice. On Demolition, I worked with Stephen Park, and funny story about him is that he was while we were shooting Demolition, he was in the theater with Wes Anderson, Asteroid City. So the movie Asteroid City was in the theater, and he was on set with us. So having that kind of celebrity on set. And the funny story is that when we were editing, 2 days after we shot, he was still in LA and he had to fly back to New York. He was literally his flight was delayed, and he had to stay with us a few hours more. And I gave him my car to go around and have lunch, and he was so happy. And he was like, I just gave him my car. It was like not a big deal, but he was so down to earth and so humble, and it was funny because I was like, this guy is in the theater, I'm talking with him, I'm like, but then I also learned in my career that the bigger they are, most likely the easier they are.
Yes. So true. Oh, you just say something so true.
Yeah.
Um,
You're right. The most like a well-known, the more grounded, like
they
down
are, yeah.
hurt. Yes, I agree with you.
I'm struggling
Yeah.
much more with people that are no one and they act like they are celebrities and they are like literally no one. But most likely when they are real celebrity, um, like Jeff Goldblum, when we went to a party and Jeff Goldblum was playing with his band.
Right.
It was so funny that we ended up talking about Fellini, Jeff Goldblum.
Another great
Like,
too.
it's
Uh-huh.
insane.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Davide, veramente grazie tantissimo. Il tempo è volato. You need to come back
Yes, you
because
have to. We have so many questions.
so much more to talk about. Stay tuned for the update with a little fellow. Stay
yeah,
tuned, and I can't wait to have you, back at Crave.
me too. It's been a pleasure. Really, I hope to be back soon.
Yes, grazie Davide.
Grazie a
Vuoi
voi.
fare un saluto in italiano? Dai, uno in
Dimmi.
italiano. Un salutino in italiano veloce.
Grazie a
Cosa-
tutti gli amici di Crave, grazie davvero Samantha per l'invito e spero di vedervi presto.
Ok, ciao,
A presto.
grazie.